I got shot 7 times, and I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay, I'm going to continue telling the story. So, where I left off was calling 911, the Good Samaritan there helping me relay my information to the 911 operator. So, with that, um, I just remember during that time that literally all I could think about is how much homework I had to do. All I could think about is the case brief I had to get done. All I could think about is, oh my God, I need to go home and let my dog out. Um, but anyway, so yeah, the person, the Good Samaritan, is helping me relay my information to the 911 operator. Thankfully, so I don't know if I told y'all this, but this happened literally like a minute away from my apartment at the time. Um, and where I lived, it was literally like adjacent to a fire station, so it didn't take long for the ambulance to get there. So the ambulance gets there, and I just remember like seeing their faces, and like when they came to my car to try and help get me out, they didn't know what to do. They were panicked. They just kept like trying to figure out the best way to move me to not make any injuries any worse, right? So what ended up happening was they literally kind of helped me like scoot out of my car onto the pavement, literally in the middle of the road, and they couldn't figure out how to get me onto the stretcher. So that was another. But I ended up. I'm gonna reenact this for you. So like I'm on the ground, right, and so they just had just taken me out of my car. I'm literally laying on the ground, and I remember literally I had to use my left side because my right side was no bueno. So I'm like literally getting up, and I put myself on the damn stretcher because they could not figure out how to do it. And mind you, like at the time, I think I was pushing like 170 pounds, but like I'm 5'2", and these were like 3 or 4 grown men. But hey, that's besides the point. But anyway, I get onto the stretcher. They put me in the back of the ambulance, and the first thing I tell them is like, load me up with some meds, take me home. I have a ton of homework to do, and I gotta let my dog out. And like, um, the EMT was like, honey, you have a lot more serious problems. Like that is literally what he said to me. And I was like, I don't even know if I replied after that. But I just remember saying, my stomach, my stomach, my stomach. And at this point I was like really like going in and out of consciousness. But I remember the entire ride. And I remember so much that I can tell you that it was the bumpiest ride of my life. Moving forward, we get to the hospital, and I don't remember like them taking me out of the ambulance, but I remember like being in like the trauma ER center or whatever. And I'm trying to like recall. I think there was at least 20 people in the room, maybe 15. Because I was a code red. They needed a massive blood transfusion protocol. I was literally dying, so it was all hands on deck. And I remember just like they were asking me all these questions. I kept telling them, my stomach, it's my stomach. Look at my stomach. And if you hear that licking in the background, it's my dog. But I remember telling them my stomach just hurt so bad, and I was, as they were literally like feeling in between my ribs for where to put a chest tube, that I could feel every movement of this nurse or this doctor like jamming her fingers into my side. And I just remember there was another doctor. She was above my head. So here's me laying. Here's my head. There's a doctor that was standing behind me as I was laying on the bed. She just kept like being so sweet and like stroking my face and kind of just holding me still so they could like do everything they needed to do. And I kept asking, I'm like, am I dying? Am I gonna die? Am I going to die? Like I just needed to know if I was gonna make it or not. I mean, obviously it wouldn't have made a difference, right? I wouldn't know either way. But yeah, I remember she was just so sweet, and she kept being like, hey, like it's okay, like we're gonna do everything we can for you. Like we just need you to try and stay calm. And she was just so kind and so like her like vibe, her like aura was just so nurturing and caring. Like I think that's what kind of helped me be able to like not completely freak the hell out. So after that, the next thing I remember is like them saying like her temp is dropping, her heart rate's dropping, and they were trying to warm me up. I think at this point my temp was like 93 something. I would have to look back in my like reports, but I'm pretty sure my temp was like 93 something. So I was getting cold real quick. But after that, I don't remember anything else after that except for waking up in the ICU. When I woke up in the ICU, I just remember first trying to say hi to my husband because I'm pretty sure he was there. I'm not sure if my family had flew in yet and stuff like that, but I remember trying to talk And like, I got so panicked, but I had a tube down my throat, and obviously I didn't know. And my husband, he was so like, he was awesome during it, okay? And he was just like, hey, like, you can't talk right now. Do you remember what happened? And I remember like nodding, like, yeah, I know what the hell happened. And so after that, I was in the ICU for 12 days. And for 7 or 8 of those 12 days, I was on a ventilator. And let me tell y'all, if y'all have never been on a ventilator, thank your lucky stars. I freaking mean it. I think that being on a ventilator was probably one of the most terrifying and traumatizing things that's ever happened, aside from getting shot, of course. Yep, this was little me all like propped up in this bed, that godforsaken tube down my throat, but it did keep me alive. I know I had to have it for a reason, but it was awful. I think this was probably the third day I was in the ICU. Yeah. So my first or second night in the ICU, again, I would have to look back at my reports, but I coded. They couldn't find a pulse. I was pulseless. I was dying again. And after that, they rushed me to emergency surgery for my second XLAP. I don't remember this part. I remember waking up from the code, and I just know there was like a bunch of people around my bed, like 9 or 10 people just standing around my bed. And fun fact, when I did code, they broke 3 or 4 ribs. I think it was 3 ribs. So I think the like shock of that like helped to bring me back after they were doing compressions. And meanwhile, my husband was in the room for this, so he was seeing me die right in front of his eyes. And don't worry, he's going to be on here. We're going to be doing some videos together, so y'all can hear his side too. And let me tell you, with this tube down my throat, every single day I asked the doctors, the surgeon, I was like, can I get this tube out? Like I either signed it, I finger spelled. So that's how much of sign language I know. I would sign to my sister, who also knows a little bit of sign language. And then I would just write in people's palms for the people that didn't know any sign language. But I would ask them every single day, can I get this tube out? Can I get this tube out? Can I get this tube out? And every day they would tell me no. And so I'm a very, I can be a bit dramatic, and I could be a little attitudey if I want to. And that was the one thing that helped give my family some hope that I was still me, I was still here, because each time the doctors told me I could not have that tube out, this was my reaction. And I would turn away in the bed. But yeah, anyway, fast forward, I got that tube out. Thank God. I was feeling good. It was definitely a weird feeling. Again, count your lucky stars that you have never, and hope to never have a tube down your throat. After that, I got moved to a recovery floor, thank goodness, and I stayed there for 10 more days, I think. When we first got to that floor, the hospital was actually having really a lot of construction, and I went into a severe panic attack. I kind of remember it. I just remember hearing extremely loud banging. I thought I was being shot at again, and they had to move me rooms. After they moved me rooms, this is where the rest of my healing took place, and where eventually this is the room that I ended up being discharged from the hospital in. So that was a happy time. But being moved to the room while I was still in the hospital, so we're pushing probably the second week of me being there, and I had to have another surgery. I had to have a thoracotomy. I had a few complications while I was in the hospital. I kept having reactions to blood transfusions, and I kept spiking fevers, and there was just some stuff like I was not getting better like I should have been, and they found that I was getting some clots and stuff in my lung again, and so I had to have a thoracotomy. With the thoracotomy, they said basically thoracotomy with decortication. Basically, they said it's power washing the inside to get out all the old blood, all the whatever else is left in there, to basically wash it all out so I can breathe. When I woke up from the thoracotomy, absolutely sobbing, bawling my eyes out, this pain was unlike any pain I had yet endured. And to this day, I still don't know exactly why I was in so much pain when I woke up. Best guess is that that's when a few of my intercostal nerves got damaged. And so the next part, I'm gonna try and wrap this up with the discharge story, and yeah, hopefully that'll be it. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments.